Again to this special keynote event with the winner of the 2024 Sustainable Transport Award, City of Tianjin. I am Ivana Alfred, the Knowledge and Education Manager at the Institute for Transportation and Development Policy. Every year, the STA committee alongside ITDP honors a city that has taken bold and innovative steps towards creating more sustainable, equitable, and accessible transport solutions. And earlier this year, we began the STA season with a webinar with the honorable mention city, Peshawar, Pakistan. We're excited to be back and close the season with the winner, the city of Tianjin. We have planned two sessions with Tianjin to share lessons learned with other cities. Next month, we'll be hosting a technical webinar that will go into more detail on strategies employed by the city and the project partners. So today we'll celebrate Tianjin and hear some inspiring takeaways from the speakers from the municipality, the World Bank, and the STA committee. They will highlight the key approaches Tianjin pioneered in the recent years in the integration of public transport with non-motorized modes. So with that, it is my pleasure to welcome the speakers of this session. Starting with Aimé Gauthier, the Chief Knowledge Officer at ITDP. Aimé represents ITDP in the STA committee. We also have Mrs. Song Xuan from the Tianjin municipality. She's a registered civil engineer for road engineering at Tianjin Urban Construction Design Institute. We also have Mrs. Xiaodong Wang from the World Bank. She's the lead energy specialist and infrastructure program leader for China, Mongolia, and Korea. And finally, we also have Mr. Sam Johnson. He's a sustainable transport specialist at the World Bank. So with this introduction, I'll just invite Aimé Gauthier to share a few things about Tianjin.
Great, thank you so much, Ivana. Again, my name is Aimé Gauthier. I'm with ITDP, and it's a real pleasure to be here on behalf of the STA committee. Welcome to the Sustainable Transport Award Keynote featuring Tianjin. For 19 years, the Sustainable Transport Award has recognized and celebrated cities that have been on the cutting edge, on the vanguard of what cities need to be doing, should be doing with sustainable and equitable transportation and urban development. For 19 years, the Sustainable Transport Award has recognized tangible transformation on the ground. And I just want to pause here and say, it is so hard to actually get things done that it's a real achievement and it's a real honor to be sitting with cities who have actually done this, like Tianjin. There's something amazingly courageous about taking that vision and action and then actually implementing it. So it's a real pleasure to be here with Tianjin. Tianjin has been on the vanguard. It has done this and more. By moving from car-centric to people-first mobility, this is a new idea that's still hard for cities to do, to actually take space from cars, to invest in walking and cycling. And Tianjin has done this. They've taken no small steps, but instead they have become a model for investment, for thinking about sustainable transport, to think about the relationship between different modes. And so I'm excited to hear from all of the speakers today, both the people who designed and implemented the project and the partners that stood next to them along the way, hand in hand. But before we begin, I just wanted to highlight three things that I think are amazing about Tianjin. One is this idea of integration leading to network effects. What we saw by investing in walking and cycling was that the ridership on the metro increased by 175,000 more daily trips, 175,000 more trips. That's amazing. And that's by investing in walking and cycling. Good investments, they get even greater outcomes. So it's not just that they invested in walking and cycling, but that they did these in really beautiful ways that looked at safety, that looked at gender, that looked at shade and lighting, so that the walking environment and the cycling environment was safe and pleasant. They invested in communities. And so that's the last point, which I think is really amazing, is that by creating connected, inclusive communities, neighborhoods, those become the cornerstone of strong and economically productive cities. So this has been an amazing journey for me to learn about Tianjin. I'm excited for you all to learn about Tianjin. And with that, I will pass to Ms. Song Shunyang.
I'll actually cue in.
Oh, the video first?
Yes.
Sorry.
No problem.
The video is next.
Thank you so much, Ame. This was great. I'm just going to play a very quick video that we have prepared for this occasion. Hopefully it will play with high speed, but nonetheless, we're recording this session and we can always update the quality of the video for the posting after this event. So just give me one moment while I cue that in and enjoy.
Hello， 大家好，我是天津城建设计院的设计师宋秀莲，非常荣幸在这里给大家介绍天津城市交通改善项目。2014年，天津市入选国家慢行交通示范项目。这个项目呢，主要是在2015年的经天津市发改委批复利用咱们世界银行贷款来进行城市交通改善。在这个项目之初呢，我们也是进行了大量的一个讨论，更多的这个形成了一些咱们理念的一些转变。比如说，咱们从从以往的关注以车为本，然后转变到了以人为本。然后就是说，以往的话就是咱们更多的是关注车怎么来快速的通行，然后那个有没有拥堵。那么在这个项目里边呢，我们就是考虑到更多的是人的出行的一个品质和环境，一些安全性。另外一方面的话是一个转变，就是咱们以往的话设计是从道路的红线到红线是咱们的设计范围。那么在这个项目里边呢，也是从提升出行城市的出行品质这么一个出发点，咱们这个项目是进行了一个全断面的一个街道的一个提升改造。另外一方面的话，就是以往的设计呢，咱们可能是更多的是关注咱们一些道路的通行功能，比如说按照标准呀、一些规范呀进行设计。那么在这个项目里边呢，我们其实除了依据咱们一些国家的一个规范和标准之外呢，更多的是关注咱们城市的一些设计细节方面的一些内容。所以也非常欢迎大家来天津来感受一下天津的一些改变，天津的一个城市的一些发展。天津会让天津越来越美好，谢谢大家。
Hope you enjoyed those snippets from Tianjin and also the autumn feelings. It was recorded very recently, so you can see how the city looks like around this time. So yes, with that, I'll pass it on to Mrs. Shulian to say a few words to us. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Great.
首先非常谢谢主持人。
Thank you so much, moderator, for introducing me. First of all, I really want to thank ITDP for giving me this chance to introduce the best practice of Tianjin. I would love to just share the successful case of Tianjin to everyone here.
那么2024年呢，天津市在
In 2024, Tianjin
获得世界
has outstood and also got the award of STA from ITDP. Here, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to World Bank and ITDP. As the designer and planner of Tianjin, we'll continue to work very hard. The transportation construction project has finished upgrading 160 roads, which is more than 132 kilometers, which also includes more than 90 working stations along the way. It also includes 86 cars on the public space. So through this transformation, I believe that it has transformed and also improved the living quality of citizens. So our policy and the project is actually in alignment with the policy of the State Council of China. And after we got this award, we have also summed up our best practices of this project. We try to standardize what we have done in this project and try to include all of our best practices into our future strategy and planning. Our institute has also talked to the government departments to try to provide more standards for the urban planning and management, and of course, operation. We want to provide more standards for the NMT. This was the first for China. We have also established some requirements for the NMT standards. And for some of the roads, we try to give the right to the NMT. We want to ensure the safety and the comfort of citizens. We all know that during this journey, we have to consider manufacturers and stakeholders. We also have to talk to the leaders of the government a lot. So through this very deep communication with the Road Transportation Management Bureau, we have got approval and recognition from them. They also hope that we can continue to work hard to just improve the overall planning and optimization of the road transportation so that we can just provide safer and more comfortable environment for the citizens. My sharing is close to finish, but I really want to welcome everyone to visit Tianjin in the future. Last but not least, I would like to say we really want to build a city where everyone can feel safe and comfortable just walking and cycling around. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Shulian. And then now I'll just invite Mrs. Wang from the World Bank to also share a few insights.
Yes, hi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Xiaodong Wang. I work for the World Bank. I'm basically managing the energy transport urban infrastructure in China, Mongolia, and Korea office at World Bank. First, I would like to express my gratitude to the Sustainable Transport Award Committee for hosting this event and for their commitment to sustainable urban development. And World Bank has been a steadfast partner in supporting China's journey towards decarbonization green transport. In Tianjin, for example, we have collaborated on this urban transport improvement project, which has significantly enhanced the green transport infrastructure, including the development of integrated pedestrian and bike networks, metro access improvements, and facilitate the growth of private sector bike share system. I have to say that I'm really actually happy to see that video. I remember many years ago, I organized this workshop for the C40 cities in Singapore, and Chinese cities mostly is infrastructure-based, infrastructure-centered. And I remember Singapore, the slogan is the people-centered. And in this video, it's showing that the transformation from the Chinese city from car to people-centered. So that's very encouraging to see. I would also like to extend our thanks to the ITDP. Together with the World Bank, we're committed to sharing the valuable lessons from China's green transport initiatives, both within the country and globally. Our engagement in China is now focused pretty much only on global public goods. So in the transport sector, this means that we'll reach the help China reach deep decarbonization in this hard-to-abate sector. It is crucial that cities continue to exchange experience, lessons learned to drive sustainable urban development forward. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Wang, and for highlighting this collaboration with the World Bank. So we are going to hear a little bit more background on the project. Actually, we saved that detail with Sam Johnson. So Sam, would you like to cue in your presentation?
Yes, I would love to do that. Is that coming through well?
Yes.
Fantastic. Hi, everyone. My name's Sam Johnson. I have the great honor to help come in at the late stage of this project to help disseminate its transformative effect on Tianjin and hopefully inspire other cities around the world. And we've already seen it very eloquently put in the video earlier today, but I just want to really emphasize that we know all around the world, many cities are pursuing this ambition to move away from car-centric design, but there are not many that have done it as fast and as widespread as what Tianjin has done. So we need to spend a little bit more time looking into how they achieve that. And in the spirit of what Owen has said, we will have a more detailed technical webinar to get into the specifics of this. So consider this short talk simply a taster of that full course to come. But at the World Bank, we're very proud of this project because it represents the largest project of its kind in the history of the World Bank. And you saw this presented visually before, but the results over the 7-year period are quite extraordinary. 132 kilometers of downtown road improved, around 96 metro stations, thousands of trees installed, many new parks created, squares created, and other infrastructure that you can see on screen. But beyond just that, as Ms. Song said, this represents a paradigm shift for Tianjin, and they did some fantastic studies that were focused on how to make this sustained beyond the closure of the 7-year project period, which I encourage you to join our technical webinar next month to understand specifics of how they do that and make this business as usual in Tianjin. But for those who haven't been lucky enough to visit this beautiful city, it may be hard to imagine what these numbers actually mean. So for those of you who have been to Paris or who have been familiar that Paris was the previous winner of the Sustainable Transport Award, you can imagine that these works happened over an area expansive more than the width of the city of Paris. And this is what it looks like, which we've seen in previous videos. But again, keeping with this comparison of Paris as a bit of friendly rivalry between two prestigious winners of the Sustainable Transport Award. In Paris, and the downtown core of Tianjin, they have some similarities in terms of their size and their population density. And Paris is rightly getting much recognition for its tremendous improvement in its bike mode share, as it should. But in Tianjin, we see that the bike mode share currently is nearly 5 times as high as what we see in the streets of Paris. So very remarkable results that Tianjin is delivering. And so what did this project do? It was really focused on not just mobility for mobility's sake. It was an economic and social development initiative. So there were areas of the districts of the city which had its commercial vitality improved. This site in particular, it used to be, locals would joke it was a place where you would have to bring your kayak to do your shopping because the flooding was so bad. Whilst in the narrower downtown core, there was measures put in place to protect the previously rampant illegal parking to make sure this remained a walkable first environment. And then, of course, there was a great reallocation and reprioritization of the space of the bicycle. And this also was accompanied with making sure that where there was not, where there was fast moving traffic, that segregated bike lanes with large bike lanes were put in as standard. And I mentioned that there was also a lot of new public space created or improved. Like you see here, this is one of the 38 public parks, which was improved and now has more than 15,000 visitors per day. And then in some cases, there was complete streets that were reallocated and closed down from being a car space at all and turned into public parks like you see here. And this has become a very vibrant area, as well as improving the real estate values for the people along this street. And importantly, finally, coming to Ame's earlier point, that this initiative was done with great emphasis on the synergies between improving the environment for walking and biking and the ridership of the metro. And so in many cases, corridors in the city were specifically chosen for improvement because they were in great connectivity with the black dots that you see on screen, which represent the different metro stations improved. And so what does this mean? If we put it in numbers, you heard this earlier, tremendous results in terms of additional trips happening by metro and walking and biking. We are a World Bank who care a lot about the economic benefits and the economic case for infrastructure, and this project performed much better than our typical transport projects. And we also found that beyond that macro level economic performance, it also induced many new small businesses and improved their take-home yields as part of the city. Importantly, for safety, we also were able to prove that it had a long-term effect, that streets that were improved under the project were significantly less prone to having accidents and crashes. And as I mentioned, resilience was a key feature. So summing up, the World Bank, we are very proud of this project. We see it as a flagship project that delivers on our obligations for decarbonisation, for road safety, for access and efficiency, and green that you see on screen. And so what is the takeaways to other cities? Again, a taster before we go into this in more technical detail in future calls. But what was critical in Tianjin's case was very strong leadership from the city and the need to complement these push factors of creating more space for walking, biking, and connectivity with transit, with more punitive measures on car use and parking management. And it's through having a synergetic and holistic approach that we get the transformative benefits that Tianjin is experiencing. Finally, this has influenced, obviously, this award, but it has influenced policy development in China more broadly, and we're very proud of that. And we hope that all across China, we can see scenes like this, where the revitalization of the bicycle continues to grow and grow in strength. And thank you very much, and congratulations to the Tianjin team and everyone involved.
Thank you so much, Sam, for this teaser. It was really great to get more context about the project. So MA has prepared a couple of questions. And then as a reminder, we are also gathering any questions in a chat box, which will help us frame the next session. We just want to make sure that we gather what everyone is interested in to really tailor that session to the audience. So please feel free to do that. Back to MA.
Great. Thank you so much. It was great to hear from all three of the speakers and learn more. And Sam, the presentation was really nice. To see the pictures, the before and after, is always really powerful. I did like the way that you ended on the four outcomes, because I think it's really important that these projects are hitting decarbonization, safety, economic productivity, and efficiency and resilience. These are the challenges all cities are facing. And so it's really nice to see how this project affected all four of those key outcomes. I wanted to start with just a general question of like, what do you think are the kind of key innovations that you would like to see other cities pick up that you learned from? It can be in either how you approached it, it could be in thinking about data or integration, but just like, what do you think are the one thing that you wish that other cities would learn from you or take away and try to do in their own cities? And I'm opening it to anyone who wants to answer.
I would invite Miss Song to answer first. It's definitely the most informed of all of us, and then I can compliment.
Okay.
Miss Julian, can you hear us okay?
Yeah.
So, Ms. Song, can I ask you to answer what you think or what you would like other cities to take away from your experience, or what you think the biggest innovation was with this project that you think other cities can learn from?
Mm. 首先哈，在这个项目里面，
First of all, in this particular project, in terms of the innovations, I have already mentioned that we actually transformed our mindsets, but also we pay attention to the design details of roads and pay extra attention to safety of trips. From creating safety traffic, we actually implement measures to stabilize traffic. Moreover, for sharp turns, we actually narrow and smooth the turns and corners. For some particular roads, considering all the different participants, how many vehicles, and non-motor vehicles and pedestrians, we would actually narrow the motorized lanes to make sure that the non-motorized vehicles and pedestrians have a wider lane to pass through.
That's excellent. That's such a key point. I saw Michael King was in the audience, and he's actually the one who taught me about narrowing turning radiuses and making cars go slower to make them safer. So that's a great point. Thank you. Sam, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, again, in the spirit of just being a teaser for next month's technical webinar, one of the key innovations of this project is that Tianjin started the process through establishing a very ambitious green transport plan for the whole city. And it was by doing a backcasting exercise of the mode share targets and trip length targets and interaction between mode targets and many other KPIs. It was on that basis that then they defined their infrastructure plan. Another innovation which is focused on making sure the project effects last in the long term is they've created a decision-making platform which allows them to now network-wide across the Tianjin municipal government area to do their annual work programming and costing and economic analysis for future improvements, doing concept design of what sections need to be improved, and then actually being able to in real time say what effect that will have on non-motorized transport traffic flow. So it greatly speeds up the process of expansion of these types of measures around the city beyond just thinking about it on a project or corridor specific manner.
Mm-hmm. That's actually a really good segue to the last question I'll ask before we wrap up, which is, given that this was kind of a discrete project, how do you see, it's had some influence, as you just mentioned, Sam, with the rest of the city, but I hear it's also influenced the national level too. Could you talk a little bit, and Ms. Song had talked about the standardization of best practices. Can you all talk a little bit about how this project is influencing other areas within the city, within the country, and hopefully with this webinar around the world? And I'll start again with Ms. Song if she would like to comment on what you all have done with the standardization of best practices and how it's been linked to the national policy.
是这样，就是说，对这个在国内的话，就是对慢行系统的一
In
些
China, we have conducted some research on NMT. Different cities in China, like mega cities, Beijing, Shanghai, Tianjin, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, have been implementing the concept of NMT and giving priority to NMT. In implementing the Tianjin process, we have received extensive attention. And in this process, we talked to designers from various cities. When Tianjin won the award, we actually have technical exchanges with our peers across the country. When this project won the 2023 NMT Association's Best Practice Case, this July, when the NMT conference was held, we also shared our case. I think thanks to these efforts, we could inspire other cities in improving their NMT system. We could provide some constructive advice to them.
Amazing. Thank you. I also love the fact that you have an NMT conference. That's amazing. Great. Sam, did you want to add anything?
Very, very quickly, just to say that this NMT code that was adopted, which is the standards for urban pedestrian and bicycle transport planning in China, it's a non-mandatory standard but it is significant change in the practice, because it now requests that designers should, when taking urban space, they should prioritize the space available for what's available for walking and biking first, and then the remainder of the space should be provided to the private car. And it couples this aspiration with specific minimum standards of widths of bicycle lanes and sidewalks, which are very large in the comparison to what readers and the practice overseas may be familiar with. So just for example, the minimum width in China for a bike lane one direction is 2.5 meters, according to this national standard. So very ambitious, and still to be seen how much it is being rolled out, since it's not mandatory. But as Ms. Song mentioned, the leading cities in China are very much rolling this policy out, which is very heartening. And I'll just open to see if my colleague Xiaodong has any additional comments.
Yeah, I would also like to add that, our transport team has been really promoting this avoid, shift, and improve framework. Of course, Sam is an active member of the team. And I think China has done quite well on the improvement side, with electric vehicle. And on the shift side, I think this project is exemplary. And on the void side, I think China would need to do more, for example, right? So recently, the transport team actually kind of replicate some of the element of this in Yichang, another province in Hubei, and did these parking, pedestrian walking, some of these elements in another city in China. We just financed another project. So we do want to, at the World Bank, we do want to replicate this approach to other cities as well. And of course, to promote this across in the developing world. Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. Well, thank you to all of our speakers who have participated. Thank you to all the people in the audience. Thank you for your questions. These questions are going to inform the technical webinar, so we will be addressing them in the next step, so stay tuned. I did want to just kind of close by saying it's really powerful to have both Ms. Song and also Sam and Xiaodong here from the World Bank. It illustrates the power of partnership and the fact that it's only together and working in partnership and collaboration can we actually go as far and as fast as Tianjin did. So it's really amazing to have both the city and the key partner here talking together about how this happened. Really happy to have had all you guys talk about your experience. Looking super forward to the technical webinar where we can dive a little bit deeper into some of these things, find out did the project expand bike parking at metro stops that Michael Replogle had put into the chat. There are some other questions that we want to address as well. So please stay tuned, and thank you once again. I'll pass back to Ivona, and thank you, Sam, Ms. Song, and Ms. Wang for attending.
Thank you so much. I couldn't do a better job than MA, so I'll just adjourn this session. Thank you again for sharing your time, especially in the evening hour where you are, Mrs. Song and Mrs. Wang, and also Sam. So thank you for your time, and I'm really looking forward to the next session. We will be in touch with the registration, and of course the recording materials from today will make them available to the public, to everyone who is interested in learning more from Tianjin. So big thank you, and see you at the next session.
Thank you, everyone. Congratulations, Tianjin.
Bye-bye.
Bye.